What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just Be Guessing podcast, and today we have episode 96. And my golly, do we actually got some decent things to talk about? A lot of stuff has happened since the last time we spoke, since the last time that we have made it here, both with the Guardians and the Browns. But we're going to start with the Guardians today first because the trade deadline ends. It's 5:41 right now. It ends at 6 o'clock. So it will end during the recording of this podcast. So as things end, we will obviously give you guys any more Guardians, of updates do happen. The Twins are on a fire sale right now. They're trading away everybody, and it's going to be hilarious to see them show up on Friday with the AA team. Pretty much, because that's all they're going to have left. They have just been getting rid of everybody. But, with everything that's gone on today and even this week between baseball and Browns news and stuff, how are we feeling, Andrew?
Dude, I'm feeling pretty good. And it feels good to know that Stephen Kwan is going to stay. And the Dolans don't have to disappear anonymously or whatever, anonymously out of nowhere, because the fans would definitely have something to go on about if Quan was dealt today. And
right,
I've seen posts about, I'm gonna go to Dolan's house and burn it to the ground and if he sells it, Quan or whatever, because this is what we're known for doing, man. We're known for developing these amazing players and then just letting them go. And it happened with Lindor, and I think they learned from that, re-signed Jose, saying we're not going to let Jose go, and then they're probably doing the same with Quan, like we're probably not going to let this guy go either.
I mean, could you have imagined the riot? Because, it was one thing to get rid of Lindor, even though Lindor was starting to kind of decline a little bit for us, at least. I think he was batting still like 250, but he was hitting more home runs than he was getting really on base a lot. So he was becoming a slugger at that time, and people were getting a little annoyed with it. And also there was so much noise around Lindor and him wanting to leave or him wanting more money. And so I think it got a little frustrating at the end for fans. But so far that has not happened. But the Guardians still did get rid of a important piece that we have had over the last several seasons. Former Cy Young Award winner Shane BEIBER is going to the Toronto Blue Jays. This is the second guy that we have sent to the Blue Jays this year. We sent Jimenez up there, and we even sent Miles Straw technically there as well. So
we also sent we also sent the pitcher Nick Sandlin there too.
Yeah, but they're really going all in, and Shane BEIBER was starting to progress in his rehab. He was at Akron, I think, last Tuesday or Monday, and he was doing pretty dang good. He had 7 strikeouts, only gave up 1 home run, and we're like, man, this is exciting. And then the news of, hey, he could be traded started to really swirl around probably Tuesday or Wednesday, and we just kind of understood, like, hey, this is probably what's going to happen. And this is the 4th Cy Young Award winner that the Guardians have eventually traded. You look back at CC Sabathia, Cliff Lee, Kluber, and now Shane BEIBER. We have obviously gotten rid of many other important guys over the years, but this is sort of a theme that the Guardians always seem to have. But I think the difference here, and even with Kluber, this happened, was you trade them away, but you trade them for part of their career, where CC was still in his prime, and Cliff Lee was still in his prime at that time, where Kluber and even Biebs, Biebs still has a few good years in him, but he may never be the same. After Tommy John, you never know. So it is a gamble, but the Guardians actually got a pretty solid prospect out of it. Cal Stefan, probably saying that name wrong, but he is one of the, I would say, better right-handed pitching prospects currently around right now. I think he was in AA not too long ago. He's on IL right now with some sort of shoulder soreness or whatnot. So nothing major, and you won't see him this year at all. But he is a guy that you could see in the next probably year or two, especially with how young this roster is. You never really know. But basically, you traded old Bieber for young Bieber because this guy looks exactly like Shane Bieber did coming into the league. And with our farm the way it is, with how good we are with pitchers, I'm confident that the guards can actually do something with him, and they may found a gem, and this may pan out to be a really good trade in the end.
Yeah, he just got called up to Double A. Like I think it was like a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was like the 25th or something.
Yeah, it was like a few days ago. He just got called up and he pitched one game. And I know everyone's freaking about that one game because he got kind of killed a little bit, but it's his first game in Double A. Like it's a different change of pace. It's gonna happen. He'll ease in and get right, obviously, and he's on the 7-day IL just for I think it's a pinched nerve in his shoulder,
Yeah,
which
something like
which
that.
which that just it's one of those things where you just go to a doctor and or you get it massaged out or whatever, and you're fine. It's just more of a rehab kind of thing where you just go to rehab and iron things out and everything's okay. So it's not like it's a major UCL injury like Shane Bieber had, but like you said, dude, this kid, even just watching some of the videos that we saw on Twitter or X, he looks almost like a carbon copy of Shane Bieber, like a carbon copy of Shane Bieber. The fastball being in the mid 90s, the curve and a slider looking absolutely disgusting. He has a very high K percentage. He has a very high swing strike percentage. He gets guys to swing it a lot, and this is what you need. And he's going to probably start out, or it's already said on his minor league baseball page, he's already with Double A Akron.
Yeah.
So he's going to start off with the Rubber Ducks. I'm sure he's going to get into a game maybe this weekend or early next week. So we're going to see how this kid plays out. Obviously, it's going to be fun to kind of keep an eye on him and see how he does in transitions. And what's funny is he was a part of the draft last year with Travis Bazzana, and he was the second round pick. So, and
Fairly
I know
young, and yeah, he's going to be good.
And I know he's one of the top prospects for the Blue Jays too. And I think he's also in the top 100 prospects as well. And I don't know if he's in the top 50 because I thought I saw somewhere he might be in the top 50 of that list or top 60. But this kid's going to be a stud, dude. Like I'm excited to see him again. I'm excited to watch his debut because I'm going to watch it on my phone since I have the Guardians TV, so I can watch all the minor league games too. So I'm going to see how he does. And this kid looks like he's going to be something, man. I'm excited to see how he turns out. Hopefully he is Shane Bieber 2.0 in the future.
Yeah, that would be great. I live like not even 30 minutes away from Akron, so I'm probably going to end up going to a Ducks game with my girl and just going to a cheap game and see if he'll be there for one of those games. I want to see Bazzana play before he gets called up to Columbus because I'm sure that's going to come here real soon. But
probably the next
honestly, the Akron is a really good roster. They have a lot of our, I would say, better prospects at the moment because I think they had like 5 or 6 guys in the top 100.
Yeah, it's like
our team alone.
Cooper Engel, Bazzana.
There's a shortstop in there.
Angel Ganal, yeah.
There's a left-handed pitcher, Merrick or some shit.
Oh, Messick?
Maybe.
Messick is with Columbus.
Okay. And then obviously you got CDL as well was on that list as well. So
and K-Fist is on that list.
So like again, you have a lot of young talent. So
yeah,
the future does look bright, but the big gripe that we keep having with the ownership and stuff is they just don't want to move these guys up. They sort of just dwell down there, and then they get traded off, and then they either do something or they just kind of fan out and you don't really see them. And that's sort of the bad part of the business of baseball. It's very hard to get to the majors and then stay there. So for us to have this many prospects, like I'm really hoping that the Guardians take this into next season and say, listen, we have guys that we can now insert into the lineup day one, and they can make an impact, along with a lot of the young guys that we have currently on the MLB roster who are playing better. Listen, I'm going to give props. Rocchio has been much, much better. Much better. All right. Schneemann has been a great utility piece that he's seen more time in the infield than either him or Arias has, because he stayed healthy. He's been able to hit the ball pretty well. You still have Kwan, you still have Ramirez, you still have Manzardo, who whenever he plays, Manzardo hits a home run or at least makes an impactful hit in a game every time he's up there. So once you get to clean out the Santanas and these sort of older guys, that's when we're going to start seeing a little bit better, I think, of a roster. And I've always been a fan of teams that take those young rosters and just use them, because 9 times out of 10 they do well. And that's how the MLB has been built over the last several years, until teams like the Dodgers have just bought out everybody and just done what they've done. The Yankees, because they're able to throw a lump sum of money at anybody at any point, and they do not see any loss because all they do is win. Now, the Dodgers might have an issue, though, on their hands. Ohtani was pitching last night, and he came out of the game after throwing like 5 or 6 straight balls with some soreness, with some sort of issue. And I'm telling you what, if the Dodgers made him pitch and he messes up his UCL again, that kid may never play defense ever again. He may only be a hitter anymore, because how can you let the best player in the game, who doesn't need to pitch, on that staff? That staff is already loaded. Why are you making Ohtani even pitch? Even as just a reliever, I don't care. I wouldn't let him do that at all. Let him play outfield, or let him be a DH the rest of his life. What the frick are you doing?
Well, speaking of which, the Dodgers just traded Dustin May to the Red Sox. So,
interesting.
So they just lost Dustin May, one of the pitchers that you were just talking about. So he's gone now. But I mean, our buddy Sean even said, why not just throw him in the bullpen for an inning and have him come out of if you really want him to pitch, then on a day off or something, let him come out of the bullpen, and then he could pitch an inning or two. Like, you don't need to have him go out 6-7 innings and then try to hit, because then that you're going to gas the dude. He's going to get injured. He's already 31, 32 years old. So it's not like he's a young dude anymore who can pitch and hit anymore. He's going to tear things in his shoulder. So you got to allow this guy to, relax. And like you said, either just be a strict, or let him go into an outfield spot or something.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of malpractices that the Dodgers are doing with him. Like, oh, we're going to allow him to pitch. And I think they said he's supposed to pitch again in the next couple of days, and he's wanting to pitch or something. So if he gets injured, that's on him. And
to me, that's stupid.
It's stupid to me too, but you know what? We're not Ohtani, and we're not the organization of the Dodgers. If they want to do stupid things, well, they can win stupid prizes by doing those stupid things.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, with this whole organization with the Guardians, man, I'm with you. I think we waste so many careers down in the minors, and there's guys that we talked about all the time, like CJ Kayfus, who deserves to be up here right now, who deserves a chance, and he's being blocked by Carlos Santana. Why the hell do we need a 40-year-old when there's a 22, 23-year-old who's raking down in Columbus right now that could be just as effective, if not more effective? Yeah. You start Manzardo, and then you try Kayfus maybe as a DH, or you put him in the outfield in the corner, because sometimes it's, as of late, it's back and forth with Nolan Jones, whether he's good or bad. I mean, lately he's been better in the last month or so. So hopefully he keeps what he's been doing in the last month or so up. But I mean, other than that, the Rockies seem like they won that trade, because Tyler Freeman over the last couple of days looked really good. Like, Freeman has looked insane. Like, even when I went last night, Freeman had like 3 hits to Jones. I think Jones just had a double and a single or something. So yeah, like don't get me wrong, they both battled back and forth.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately Freeman won the battle.
Yeah, I mean, I think Freeman has been like I think his average has been around 300, like
He's
300 for
batting
almost the whole year.
at the game when I was there. His stats are like 304 batting average and like almost like an 890 something OPS or something. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
this dude is
we
killing
could
it.
have used that. Like we could have really used that, especially because he could play a little bit of outfield. He could play in the infield. Like I would have rather wanted him on this team than ever dealing with guys like Will Wilson. Okay, let's get stuff like that straight.
Yeah,
And then you also ruined the production of, John Kenzie Noel,
yep.
CDL never got up here because you had both, you know, Thomas
And
and now
Jones.
Jones messing that up as well. You can't bring up Kafis because Santana's here. Like the Guardians really did flop on the moves that they made this year.
Mhm.
And I really hope they have the ego to set aside and say, yeah, you know what? We didn't make the right moves last year. We need to trust our young guys. They're able to make that next step. And especially with guys like Manzardo, he is ready to make that step. In fact, he is making that next step because besides Ramirez, he's our next best slugger on this team, numbers wise and just in general. Like
Mhm.
the dude hits the ball hard and he hits it far. That's what you need out of a first baseman. You need slugging. You need guys that drive in ribbies. That's why you loved Naylor the way that you did. It's because he could drive in 30 home runs and have 100 ribbies or more, but he would strike out a bunch. Now, Inzardo does the same thing, but he's younger. You could fix that.
Yeah.
Naylor was caught in his own ways, and I also think his weight played a huge factor in that as well. But that's beside the point. The Guardians have a lot of talent
Mhm.
underneath that major league team. They're still three games back. If they start to really dip, or even if they make a run, I don't care. But you got to bring somebody up to sort of
Mhm.
change the pace because the pace is still uneven. It's still at this weird, like slow roll, per se, where you're just trying to kind of push yourself to the end. And for me, you want to start really ramping it up right now. This is the time to ramp it up and really catch your stride as a baseball team. So for me, like the last month or so, I've been really, really checked out on the Guardians, and I still am because the other stuff that happened, which was Class A getting suspended for the same reason that Ortiz was suspended indefinitely, that ruined a lot for us too. Because it ruins your game plan throughout the later part of the innings, and B, it also ruined potential trades today, man. Like we saw what teams were giving up for quality closers, and Clase was better than any of those closers that got traded today
Yeah.
by a landslide. So if they got that much for those guys, could you imagine the haul that the Guardians would have been able to just cusp in their hands for Clase?
Yeah.
And he fumbled that for the Guardians, and now you don't even know if he has a future in the league anymore. We still don't know anything, and we won't know for the next month. August 31st is when this shit will get settled, supposedly,
Mhm.
at least for Luis Ortiz. They might drag it out longer for Class A. Who knows? But it's going to be even worse if the league comes back and says, "Oh, it was nothing." That's when it's going to be even worse. And that's when players are going to start shouting at the rooftops saying, you guys want to talk about salary cap? Why don't we talk about this bullshit? Like,
Yeah.
that would get rough if that happens.
Yeah, these random ass suspensions that take so long to investigate, and then next thing you know, it turns out to be a whole nothing burger, and we just wasted months of this person's life for no reason. For
Yeah.
no,
In a team's life, too. I mean,
yeah,
come on.
and no, I completely agree. I do think when it comes to everything just going on right now, which also is now 6 p.m. So the deadline is over, and Quan is still a Guardian, so that we can all breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
So we can go. Yeah. So thank God for that. But no, I think the issue with the Class A situation is the fact that, like you said, we could have gotten a haul. We could have traded him to San Diego or something, gotten like a Dylan Cease and
Yeah.
gotten maybe a bat or something to bring to Cleveland. And we could have gotten an absolute good haul that helps the pitching, the hitting. And it was just a few days too late. You kind of wish that like he got caught after he got traded. And then it's like, hey, it's out of our hands, man. You gave us the haul. You had all this going on. Nobody knew, but hey, good luck with that. Thanks for giving us your best players. We'll take it. And that could have been really a fun fleece to talk about today. So, but yeah, no matter what happens with Clase, I think he's lost a lot of fans in the Guardians organ. Like he lost like a lot of us because he was so beloved. I mean, to be fair too, when we traded for him, when we got rid of Kluber, he came into the team already coming onto a PED suspension. So it was off to a rocky start then, and I think he ends it on a rocky end. So the way he started, he finished. Some kind of issue going on, but no, we could have gotten a massive haul for him. But we have to make do with what we had. Cade Smith looked great last night. He looked like his old self again. I know his our first save attempt without Clase went very, very poorly on Monday.
Yeah.
It was, but it wasn't just him. It was Heron beforehand or after. It was Gaddis before him. It was just other guys that put him in that situation where it was a tough situation for him to get out of. And so I can't fully put the blame on Cade Smith, but you should have won that game on Monday. You should have been able to sweep the Rockies.
Yeah.
But it's what's done is done, and you go into the games against Minnesota this weekend. You hope you can sweep the AAA team of the Twins, and we'll see. I mean, I don't know what the Guardians' plan was at the end of the day because they really just all they did was just trade Bieber, and they didn't do a whole lot of nothing after that. I mean, yeah, you got rid of Paul Sewald, which I kind of wish it was Matt. Yeah. I kind of wish it was Matt Testa instead.
I think every Guards fan agrees with you on that.
Like, if it was Festa, dude, we'd all be sitting here laughing, like, "Oh, dude, we can't wait to face that guy." But no, I saw a tweet earlier saying that I can't wait for us to be like right in the wild card, and we face season, and they throw Paul Sewald against the Guardians, and we mash him.
And Paul Sewald throws a meatball to Jose Ramirez, who just cranks it 400. Yeah,
dude, that's gonna be a fun sight to see if that happens. But I don't know what the plan was, and I looked it up. At least you can DFA Santana, and I think after today, I think we might, hopefully, and this is just a hope, but we could definitely see Santana getting DFA. We could see Manzardo being the everyday first baseman with Kafis coming up and kind of getting a tryout. And I'm sure guys and like Antonetti are trying to push for that. Maybe even Vote's been trying to push for that for a minute. I know Vote tried CDL to come up and they just kind of ignored him.
Yeah.
And we all know why. It's because our owner is a bunch of idiots. But at the end of the day, I think the Guardians believe that what they have is good enough to try and make a postseason run. And then they'll see what they'll do in the offseason because, again, it's one of those things where they have to try and extend Steven Kwan. They're trying to save money to extend Kwan. They're trying to see what else they have that they can probably get rid of in the offseason and bring other people in. And, there's guys who can get brought up, too, that are really good. Again, the pitcher we just got and Steven, like, he could be a guy who starts next year for us. There's guys like CDL. Once he gets back from injury, he'll be the day one starter in right field.
Yeah.
There will be maybe a CJ Cave is DHing for us or starting in the outfield as well. So there's so many different things that can go on. I mean, I expect half this roster to look completely different next year just by bringing just guys up alone. I mean, but obviously Bazzano will be our everyday second baseman. Hell, maybe you could keep Rocchio, maybe make Rocchio an outfielder.
Right. I mean, listen, dude. God, I hope so. Like, I hope so, because this current roster is a quadruple A team at best,
Yeah.
besides a few guys, and it sucks. But you're right. You really don't know what the plan is, and I literally just saw this guy tweet this, and I have to share. So shout out to Jake Corrigan. I don't know who you are, but you quoted a tweet and you said Zach Measle said it best. When the Guardians are trying to win, when the Guardians are trying to win and when they are trying to lose, it looks the same. It really does. When you think about it, the Guardians never get aggressive at trade deadline. They never really get aggressive in free agency. The only guys that get aggressive for are guys that are on the peak of their prime. Like Edwin Encarnacion a few years ago had one great season for us, hit like 36 home runs. Mike Napoli had a great season for us at first base, was a huge slugger for us. But other than that, I mean, they really don't go all out. The only time they've ever really gone out was Andrew Miller. And that trade boosted us. And he quite literally carried us on his back all the way to the World Series, where we eventually lost because we were so gassed between being on the back of him and Kluber.
Yeah.
And that run, by the way, was not like that. That shouldn't have happened with that team. That should have happened with the 2017 team, because that was an even better team, and they still lost to the Yankees or the Red Sox or whatever the frick it was at that time. I don't even want to get down that road. But the point is, when the Guardians have made those moves, it bodes well. So I don't understand why the Guardians are just so afraid to make the move. The one step that they had above was at least they signed Ramirez at the time. And they even spent money on Jimenez, which at the time was like, okay, they're trying, because they had a roster that would compete and could compete. And then just 2 or 3 years down the line, now all of a sudden we're back to square one. Now we're in the same boat as we were in 2023, when we had just another just god awful roster. Didn't know where the staff was going. Everybody was getting hurt. We had 2 catchers that were just absolute duds that would bat not even over 150. Times were tough then. And we were having about the same type of season that we are having now. And I think we still somehow made a wild card that year. So anything can happen with this Guardians team, and they are usually good enough to make a wild card. But as I've said a few times over the last several weeks and even months now, is I almost don't even want to make the playoffs at this point, because I know what's going to happen.
Yep.
I know we're going to face a Detroit. We're going to face a Chicago, or not Chicago, but we're going to face even Toronto. We're going to face these teams that are going to be better, and they are going to kick our hind end, because we are just not a superior team. We are too weak. So unless we can catch some serious fire in the next month, I just don't see it. So we'll see what happens, but I do agree the game plan it's a little jumbled together. You really don't know what the plan is, unless the Guardians are seriously trying to say, you know what, we are all in on trying to get this thing done with Kwon. And if they can re-sign Kwon, then okay, that is a step in the right direction. You get rid of Logan, you get rid of Nolan, you revamp the outfield. The infield is almost there, and you're going to be golden, because the starting pitching staff is getting better. Slade Ciccone, awesome. Logan Allen getting better. Even Cantillo is doing better. The staff really hasn't looked that bad over the last several months, so it's getting better. But the few spots we have left to clean up are very dwelling spots at the moment that are just absolutely ripping us apart from the inside out.
Yeah. Yeah, and how much do you want to bet that Santana starts tomorrow over Manzardo?
I got so mad when he started the game after Manzardo had a 2-home run game against the Rockies.
Oh, I knew it was going to happen.
Because it was against a righty. And I'm like,
Manzardo
can hit lefties. He can hit righties. He can hit a dude that's pitching underhand. Okay? Like, it don't matter. The dude can hit. Quit making Santana struggle out there when he's batting 230 right now. It's just,
dude, come on. I was pissed off when they put in Manzardo in for David Fry, who hit a nuke in that game.
Oh yeah, that too. Because Fry is actually starting to get a little bit better as well. Like
he's getting high, and then they put him. Then after one at bat, they took him out for Manzardo. I was like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
I hate this team. I hate this team so much.
I was like, David Fry just did a 2-run homer, and what does he get rewarded with? Benched. Now he knows how Manzardo feels.
Like, it really makes you truly wonder if Vogt really is the one that's making those choices, or if he's getting calls down from the front office saying, "Hey, we're doing too good. Put somebody else in.
Cut it out.
Yeah, cut it. So, yeah, but luckily Kwon is still here for now. We'll see what evolves from that, especially going into the into the off season. But I actually want to move a little bit to football. If you don't really have anything else to point out,
no, let's move on to the pride of the night, baby.
Yes. So the Hall of Fame game is tonight. Starts at 8:00. It's currently 6:12. So we will be long done with this before that game starts. But Browns camp week 2 has started, and it started off not on a great note. MJ Emerson torn Achilles out for the year. Brutal, but at the same time, it makes me happy that we decided to keep Newsome despite being as much of a cap hit as he was, because I think he was like a $15 million cap hit this year. Mm-hmm. So they did take a gamble to keep him in that right mind. But I mean, now at this point, with the uncertainty of Emerson, even though how great he is, it is nice to have a guy like Newsome. And now he's back to being on the outside, which he is clearly more comfortable being on the outside than he is on the inside. And now you could put Cameron Mitchell, who is a more slot type corner. Now everybody is sort of in their own positions that they're supposed to be in. So this might end up panning out for the better. I don't see it really heavily killing us, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns look to free agent, the remaining free agent market, because there are some quality guys still on the market. Stephen Gilmore is still out there, even though he's 34. He's a big guy. Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there. Bradbury is out there. There are several guys, free agents, both receivers and corners, that are still out there for the Browns if they decide to do so. So the Browns do have options. I don't know if they'll go any of those routes. It sounds like they want to stay young, which has been sort of the theme anyway for Barry for the most part. But to bring in another vet wouldn't hurt. So we'll see what happens. But obviously the news about Emerson does suck. But as for that, though, everything else has actually been pretty solid, to say the least. I mean, I haven't heard anything else really major besides Kenny Pickett going down with some sort of hamstring. Doesn't sound too serious, but it honestly gives guys like Sanders and Gabriel a lot more of a opportunity to finally play. And I'm really looking forward to the first preseason game. More so, I want to see how they split the reps between Gabriel and Sanders, because it's not like Flacco's going to play a whole lot in the preseason. Like he shouldn't need to at this point. You would have more so seen more of Pickett than Flacco, if anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The news on Emerson is bad. Obviously, you don't want anything to happen to our players already. Because he was, I had a feeling that even though his rookie year he was insanely good, then last year he was kind of mediocre. I thought this year he was gonna be back to what his rookie year was, and I was really excited to see the change again. And of course, we won't get to see that now. We'll have to wait until next year. But hopefully he has a speedy recovery and can get back out soon. But like you said, there's other vets all around that you can go and get, and we shouldn't have to shy away from going out and getting a vet. I mean, we haven't really in the past because we've gotten, Devin Bush, we've gotten some other guys that have come in and stepped up on the defense. So we shouldn't be afraid to go out and get another maybe defensive, a D back to kind of help out again to replace Emerson while Newsom plays in his place. And don't get me wrong, it seems like Newsom has looked good in camp too. So we'll see what happens with all that. Um, but on the flip side, the quarterback battle between Gabriel and Sanders, it was nice to see Sanders finally getting some one reps the other day, getting some of those ones going. And I think he needed that a little bit to help get his confidence up. Because I tell you what, this kid has been working hard throughout training camp,
Yeah.
and he deserves a chance to run with the ones for a little bit. But I think they want to see what they have in Gabriel. And next week should be interesting to see how, like you said, how they divvy up the reps between the two. Because again, we know Flacco's going to go out there. He'll probably go out there for like the first quarter or something and play the first quarter, and then his day will be done. And then it'll most likely be split between Gabriel and Sanders after that, which I'm sure they're going to give them probably their own half. Like Gabriel plays the rest of the first half, and Sanders plays the second half, and just to see how they roll. But I had an interesting conversation with someone yesterday, and I said, what if they knew they could have gotten Sanders late in the draft and they drafted Gabriel to try and push Sanders to actually to be really competitive and to show us what he really has, because obviously his college career is kind of iffy because he was 13-12 and he played for kind of a mediocre college in Colorado. Right. Maybe what if they brought him in to give him a big challenge and be like, listen, you might think you're going to come in here and take that second QB spot behind Joe Flacco, but we're going to make you work for it. So we're going to bring in this guy and Gabriel. We're going to make you work for it. Now, was it worth a third round pick? No, I think that was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
In fact, I think if you're going to do that, you should have flip flop picks and you should have gotten Gabriel in the 5th round and Sanders in the 3rd. But, I digress in that moment.
All right.
But I know part of me feels like Gabriel's here to kind of push Sanders to new limits to see what we really have, because there's not a bone in my body that feels like Sanders is, or not Sanders, but Gabriel's going to be ready enough to be the number one quarterback or be good enough to be a number one quarterback in the NFL. And it has nothing to do with his size. It just doesn't seem like he just has it just by watching him. Meanwhile, Sanders looks like he has it.
He just looks smoother.
Yeah,
like Shedeur
exactly.
looks smoother, even though, like, sure, like, it may be that his progressions might be a little bit slower, but his mechanics and all that are so much more noticeable than Gabriel. Gabriel looks like a guy running like a chicken with his head cut off every single time because he has to roll out every chance he gets in order to make a throw because he can't see over the line. Like, he looks significantly short for a quarterback. And I don't want to be that, that guy that says, oh, short QBs can't do anything. But the fact of the matter is, you can tell that this guy is not going to be something. Like, I have that pit in my stomach that says Gabriel is not going to be anything. And I hope I'm wrong. Truly, as a Browns fan, I hope I'm wrong.
Me too.
Prove me wrong, kid. But
yeah,
I'm telling you what, everything that I've seen out of camp looks. I mean, obviously it's all scripted because it's camp, and they're finally starting to put on the pads. But dude doesn't look like anything special. Nothing wows me, and yet every time I see Shedeur throwing, I'm like, man, the throw looks pretty. It's always on time and it's always on target. You never really see him overthrowing. He loves that Luke Floria kid, who, by the way, I hope he makes a roster spot. I really do.
Kid's gonna be insane.
I think he's gonna be fun. I think I think he could play a significant part in even the special teams. Even as a returner, they're trying to get him as a returner. I think so. That'll be interesting to see as well. But my hope is that I hope they don't try to shove Gabriel down our throats, because it sounds like they are trying to really ramp him up to potentially play more than Shadur ever will. And I'm not opposed to having Shadur sit out this season. I'm really not.
No, me neither.
Especially if you are trying to almost protect him in a sense, to really make sure that he can produce, because he clearly has the higher ceiling, not even just physically,
Yeah.
but I mean literally. Like he just has a higher ceiling than Gabriel ever will have. Gabriel, where his limits are going to be, and also, for all we know, we don't know what they're going to do next season. But if a guy like Shadur can pan out, or even Gabriel can pan out as a guy that can move into next year, it forces you to not have to take a quarterback, and you can load up on other talents like receiver and running back again and linemen, because we're going to need offensive linemen in the next season or two, because guys like Batonio are going to retire soon. Conklin is on his last legs. You don't know what's going to go on with DeJuan Jones. Posick will also be on the move as well at some point. And even Teller is up there in his 30s. Our entire O-line is on borrowed time.
Yep.
So you need to also sort of try to focus on that. And this is where Andrew Berry needs to really work some magic. Because if he doesn't, I'm telling you, he is not going to be here next season. And I really hope it's him first over Stefanski. The only way that I'm going to really move on from Stefanski is if I can clearly see that there is a lack of leadership that he needs to carry, and the team struggles because of that. That's the only way that I can see myself out on Stefanski. But if the guys can buy back in, his leadership seems good, and the guys don't seem to be just quitting and they're still rallying, then okay, even if they win 5 games this year, I can at least see him coming back for at least one more season. Whereas Barry, I mean, you've proven that you can't build a roster now multiple times. You set us back 3 to 5 years for the Watson deal, and overall you've put us into major debt because of the way that you have handled contracts. So next year's going to be interesting. But there are some fun guys on this team that are going to be interesting to see. And the Judkins thing sucks because I was really rooting for Judkins. He was going to be a fun guy to watch. Now you don't know when he's going to play. But Swarshinger looks incredible. And he's going to have a big role now that Hicks is gone. Graham as well. Mason. He's going to, I'm telling you, man. And I'm going to be writing a piece on TheDawgLand probably this week. So, also quick shout out for that too, guys. I'm going to be starting to write again for TheDawgLand. So anytime we start to post and stuff, I'll be active on Twitter. So follow me there. But Graham is going to be a huge piece for Miles, because anytime Miles loses out on a pass rush rep, it's because of the inside game. It's not because of his outside ability. Miles can step around any tackle in the league, hands down. But when he goes inside, that's when he can lose it, because our tackles have never really been violent, good pass rushing tackles. And when we have had them the few times, that's when Miles shines the best. So
yeah,
I can see him having a major impact on this season.
Oh, dude, same. Like I'm so glad like our interior defensive line looks like it does, because it's a really good defensive line. And I don't know if you've been seeing the kind of like the rankings that all these like Fox is making and CBS and all that, like where they're like ranking like the Browns to be like last in the league. They're like, oh, the Browns are like ranked 32nd out of 32 teams because of their offense question marks and stuff like that. It's like, did we just forget like our defense is like actually really insane?
Yeah.
And could probably keep us in a lot of games. And if the offense just does the bare minimum, we could win a lot of football games this year. Like, I feel like people just forget that. And it's like they raised, and it's funny because like everyone's like, oh, we got the Bengals at like 11-5 or like 11-6 or like 12-5. I'm like, on the flip side, the Bengals defense is horrid. They're gonna get chopped up. Like, unless they score 45 points per game, they're not gonna be winning a whole lot, I don't think. So I don't know why these people think that these things are, I just don't get it sometimes. But you know what? They work at those jobs and I don't. So apparently they do something right. But essentially, with the Browns, the biggest questions going into the season, obviously, like you said, is the offensive tackles situation, because everyone is either injured or geriatric at this point because they can't stay healthy. They're aging really fast. And there's so many question marks on there. And I think instead of, I know next year, the owners, the Haslams, want quote unquote Arch Manning. But I think we need to use those 2 first-round picks and just maybe hammer home like tackle or something, like an offensive tackle here, and maybe another one. Like you're gonna have to draft a couple offensive tackles in this coming draft, because I mean, what else are you gonna do? Everyone's old and injured, and they can't be relied on unless DeJuan Jones decides to stay healthy and is good, and Pochich can at least shine a little bit, and you have Luke Whippler available and not injured, but we don't know about what's going on. Obviously, Zach Zinter is a part of that as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully, a lot of these guys are full on healthy and can be ready. And those are just your young guys: are Luke Whippler, Zach Zinter, and DeJuan Jones. Other than that, who's really the young guy on the roster? For the note, not really many people. So that's going to be the biggest question mark going into the season. And, you think Barry would recognize it while watching these practices and be like, man, I should really make some phone calls about offensive tackle. Like, probably make some calls. And also, shout out to Jimmy Haslam for calling out Andrew Barry in the middle of practice, by the way, just saying like, oh, the Shador pick was Andrew Barry pick. And I'm like, damn, like, you ain't got to call him out like that, but okay.
Oh, no, but you do. That's your job.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think Andrew Barry's on the hot seat right now, and Kevin Stefanski isn't, because Kevin Stefanski got you to the playoffs twice in 4 years, or 5, and this is gonna be his 5th year coaching, but he's gotten to the playoffs 2 times in 4 years. So half the time he's been here, he's gotten you to the postseason. I don't think that's a guy you should fire.
Yeah.
That's the guy you keep because he has success. But Andrew Barry's not really giving him any help when all he does is draft all defensive players and doesn't draft anyone on the offensive side of the football. It's like, brother, we need tackles, we need running backs, we need receivers. We don't need 13 defensive linemen and 5 linebackers and maybe a safety. We need other things. And we also didn't need 2 quarterbacks to be drafted. So I don't know what's going on, but we do need some offensive tackle really bad. And it's really going to show once the season starts. So, but I'm excited for the season to begin, because next week is Brownies football once again. And I know we're going to say we're excited, but I know the inside we're going to be screaming and crying because it's not going to go well, but we hype it up anyways.
But guess what? We're going to show up every single Sunday. And we're going to wear our Browns shirts and our Browns hats and our uniforms, and we're going to cheer. And they're going to suck us in every single time. And guess what? We're going to be right there. And
it's the definition of insanity.
Yeah. And guess who's going to a couple games?
Probably us.
Yeah. Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, my Nick Chubb jersey.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep saying yeah until the podcast is over now.
But yeah, man, it's going to be, it is what it is. I just hope that they give these young guys
the opportunity.
Because if you aren't going to add veterans at all, then okay, you've locked yourself into this.
Like the Dolan.
It's time to actually use your guys. Now, fortunately, we don't have a minor league team to worry about, but you got practice squad guys. But usually, guys that make a practice squad are really never going to see the football field unless there's injuries, which the Browns have had many times. But there is still hope, and there is like it's not like the entire roster sucks. The receiving core is
It's
thin,
good. It's
but
thin, but decent.
but the defense should be a lot better. And I know they're a little young here and there, but it's still pretty solid. The D line got better, which was a thing we needed, and I do think the O line is going to play better as long as they stay healthy. Because
Yeah.
with this going back to the older system, it's going to help. Guys like Batonio and them are going to have fun with it because they're going to be forced to now play to their strengths and not some idiot that plays 3 or 4 games before he gets hurt again while he's making $250 or $230 million guaranteed on this freaking team.
Yeah.
So, it's that will be nice, and that is going to help. So hopefully some resolution will come with the Judkins thing, because regardless, he's going to get suspended. It's just a matter of how for how long, and also the Browns need to still sign him. He's the only rookie I think remaining that has gone unsigned at this point, but for good reason. And until the legal things sort of have some sort of resolution to them, or at least have a here's where it's going to go from here, then you could probably see it happening. He'll probably still sign. It does suck that we're going to yet again have another guy on this team that has some sort of domestic dispute in the back of their minds. And it's the second rookie, the second straight year that we've had this happen. But again, if he can turn himself around and do his work in the community, do his work for the team, show up and play well, people will eventually forgive you. Because if there's people that can somehow forgive Watson, people are going to forgive him for doing what he did, even though it's not right. And I'm not saying it's right at all. Let's make that very clear. I am very against that. Very, very against that. But unfortunately, worse people have done worse things and still somehow found their way back into the NFL. Who was that? The receiver for the Raiders that killed that person a few years ago.
Oh, Henry Ruggs.
He'll probably find his way back into the league when he's out. Because that's already been a topic.
Yeah, let me look it up.
I'm pretty sure he gets out like sometime this year or early 2026, one or the other.
5 days.
Oh, really? He's out like in
August
a few
5th.
days.
August 5th.
So, yeah. Like,
oh no, August 5th, 2026. Never mind.
Okay, but still, he literally killed somebody in a drunk driving accident, and he may as well find his way back into the league. Shoot, I remember specifically the Browns added a specific receiver way back in the day named Dante Stallworth, who had a manslaughter incident, and he played the same year it happened because it was a manslaughter, an accident.
I remember that too.
I'm just saying, the NFL is so messed up that regardless of what these people do, they're going to find themselves back on the field. So as long as they can do themselves well within the community and try to withhold themselves to a higher standard and be a better person and learn from those mistakes, then they're at least trying, they're at least doing something. And as long as they're playing well, they're not going to hear it as much as if they played bad. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, I hope there's some sort of resolution soon, because I would love to have him back on this team, no matter when he starts. But in the meantime, I am excited about Dylan Sampson. I know he's a little bit smaller than Judkins is, but he is just as shifty. And honestly, he's going to do very, very well in the pass game. And I think you're going to see a lot of Dylan Sampson in the preseason, and he's going to be fun. So prepare yourselves for that, Browns fans. He was the SEC Player of the Year for a reason. Yep. And yeah, things are going to go really smooth. Shoot, what Do we know what day the game is next week?
The 8th, I think it's next Thursday, whatever the 8th is, I believe.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
next Friday.
Okay. Cool. So by the time our following episode, which will be episode 97, that will air before that game. So that'll be great. So we'll do a little preview of that and whatever else is going on with Guardians. And hey, don't forget, guys, here in the next like 2 months or so, the Cavs are back as well. So sports, the good part of sports is back. We're chugging along. Everybody enjoy the Hall of Fame game tonight. I know this game is usually boring because a lot of the starters are not going to play. There's going to be a lot of third stringers playing. It's going to be a weird game.
But football
is back. And that's all that freaking matters.
Yeah.
That is going to do it for me. I know you're going to do the sponsor shout out, so go ahead and do that for us, Andrew.
Yeah, check out the sponsors Effortless Wins for sports betting advice and plays to boost your wins. Talk to Tony or Greg. Links will be in the description on Spotify and in the comment down below on YouTube. And just in time, too, because they're probably going to have a lot of NFL plays coming up, too. So NFL action is coming, man. So get yourself right before NFL football season because a lot of money is to be made in NFL.
Oh, yeah. It is my favorite sport to bet on.
Yeah.
I think it's the easiest way to make money. It's the most risky that you can get with parlays or at least creative. Plus, you got fantasy as well. Like, everything about football season is just electric.
A lot of drafts coming up for us.
Oh, God, yeah. I literally just joined one for work as well. That's like a $25 buy-in, but still, like, oh, gosh. And then I still got the Dynasty League.
Yep.
The best ball, if we do the best ball again this year. I don't know if they are. And then my ESPN league, and I'm probably going to do it with Adam. So I got a few leagues to have this year. It's going to be fun.
Me too. So we're excited. I can't wait for football season to begin, baby.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. But we will see y'all next week with some more NFL news, some more baseball news, and whatever else happens in between. We'll see y'all